Or you gits. Brave heroes. Welcome back. I am Ash. This is OrcQuest, and it's time for another OrcQuest WarPath character spotlight. This time, we're going to be looking at MEK. MEK is a goblin thief, and will appeal very much to those who prefer a rogue playstyle. MEK has stealth. If he starts his activation out of enemy lines of sight, such as illustrated below here, MEK gains invisible. MEK has the keywords melee, ranged, and agile, and his starting stuff includes 2 daggers. Daggers being melee weapons that use a single white dice to roll. Single white die? Dice? Orcs no care for plural. If you can no longer see me, it's 'cause you're dead. That's a bit edgy. Let's look at MEK's 2 events. The first one is Pickpocket. MEK draws a loot card if he's adjacent to an unnamed character. Hop, I'm gonna need this. The second is Spotted. MEK loses invisible. Crap, I slipped. I'll have to kill you all. Excellent. Actually, I don't mind MEK's negative events impact, because really just being spotted means now you're just one of the boys. MEK comes with 3 free skills that can be used. 1 is a reactive, and 2 are actions. The first is, of course, move. He can move 7 with a cost of 1 action. With a cost of 2 actions, he can move 10. The next is combat, and he can attack with a cost of 1 action. With a cost of 2, attack plus brutality. And the last is reflex. With 2 badass points, he can dodge. Let's look at all of the 10 badass point cost skills that MEK can unlock. Passive, backstab. If MEK attacks an enemy in its rear arc, he inflicts piercing. Reactive, hide and seek. At the cost of 2 badass points, if an enemy becomes adjacent to MEK when he is invisible, attack. MEK stays invisible. I like this one. I like this one very much, actually. It's extremely roguish, and this sort of attack could work well in HeroQuest. An extra combat card, an action card called Hit and Run. At the cost of an action, movement 4 plus attack during movement. This is very much like the homebrew for goblins used in HeroQuest. Not to make the comparison again, but this is very much like that, except the goblins can of course move 10. A passive bonus of plus 4 stamina. A passive of flank attack. When MEK is invisible, his attacks are considered to be made from the rear arc. Lovely. A badass card called Shadow Attack. At the cost of 1 badass point, boost attack. MEK remains invisible if he kills an enemy. And an action card called Fake Death. At the cost of an action plus 1 badass point, MEK becomes untargetable until the start of his next activation. He cannot perform any action or reaction. That's what happens when you're faking being dead. I actually like that card a lot too. I'll have to steal that for homebrew purposes. It's time to look at the 20 point cost cards. The first is a badass ability called Cutthroat at the cost of 1 badass point. Boost attack plus bleeding. The next is another hit and run to add to your overall character loadout. The next is Smoke Bomb. At the cost of 2 badass points, before suffering an enemy attack, place a smoke token on MEK square, gain invisible, then movement 3. Some of this could be seen as complex, but it is really the norm when you are playing OrcQuest, and this sort of thing filters right into your flow of play quite easily, even if it is slightly more complex than your normal turn actions. Next is Deadly Jump. An action card. At the cost of action, plus 2 badass. Jump 4 plus attack. Target all enemies moved through. This reminds me a lot of Oris's Whirlwind attack. But this is not even MEK's best attack. That's hiding behind the 30 cost card. An action card called Finish Him. At the cost of an action, plus 4 badass points. Attack. Yellow attack results are changed to red. And that is MEK's loadout. MEK's overview. Sure to please anybody who wants to play a character that is extremely roguish, taking it to the extreme, playing dead, staying invisible even after attacking an enemy. I love it. We can learn a lot from this particular character. Did you know that orcs practice magic on the daily? We're not going to talk about how the quality of their magic is or how pure the sort of ether is handled. In fact, none of that matters when you're an orc. Stay tuned, and next time we'll do a character overview for Mandar the Hobgoblin. Wow!